Hey, welcome! Today, we're going to talk about something I think we've all been through. You're staring at this giant spreadsheet, and you just know there are answers hiding in there, but you have no idea how to find them. Well, we're going to change that. We're going to turn that raw, confusing data into some real, clear insight.
Does this look familiar? I mean, you've got all this information. Maybe it's sales numbers, maybe it's project data, and it's just sitting there. It's a super common problem, right? But the good news is there are some seriously powerful tools just waiting to help you unlock everything that's inside. Okay, let's just throw out a really specific, kind of weird question. Does it rain more on Sundays than on Mondays, but only during the daytime? Now, this seems almost impossible to answer just by scrolling through a spreadsheet, doesn't it? It's the perfect example of a question that forces us to look at our data in a totally new way.
So, our guide for this whole journey is a website called Amilago.com. It's all about finding that clear path through what can feel like a maze of numbers. It gives you the tools and the lessons you need to turn that confusion into total clarity.
You know, I absolutely love this phrase they use, twisting the data cube. It's such a great visual. It's not about just staring at the data. It's about getting in there, turning it around, looking at it from all these different angles, and uncovering perspectives you would have never seen otherwise. It's all about active discovery. So how do we actually do it? Well, Amilago lays out this really clear, 5-step journey that's built around one of the most powerful tools in Excel, the pivot table. This isn't just a bunch of random tips. It's a real, structured path to getting a handle on your data.
And here's the roadmap. First, you got to format your raw data. I mean, you can't build a house on a messy foundation, right? Then we add more info, using formulas to pull out things like the day of the week. We even use a clever tool called VLOOKUP to pull in related info. And only then, once our data is prepped and ready, do we actually build the pivot table and make some charts. Every single step is crucial.
Okay, so this is what we're starting with. Over 7,000 lines of data from a weather station. But just look at that first column. What on earth does 41425.5 even mean? Well, that's actually how Excel stores dates and times. For person, it's completely unreadable, and for analysis, it's pretty much useless, just like this. And boom! Look at that transformation. With just a few smart formulas and some formatting, that digital gibberish is now a clean, easy-to-read date and time. But we didn't stop there. We extracted new columns for the month and the weekday, and even used lookup tables to automatically classify the time as day or night. Now this data is rich with context and totally ready to go. And here we are. All that prep work, the cleaning, the formulas, the lookups, it all leads right to this moment. Our data's clean, it's enriched, it's perfectly structured, it's finally time to build that pivot table and get our answer. And the answer is no, it does not rain more on Sundays during the day, at least not over this 5-month period. In fact, it was the other way around. A pivot table lets you slice through the noise of 7,000 different data points to get a single clear answer just like that. It's amazing. And this chart just lays it all out crystal clear. You can see that on average, Mondays were way rainier. But the analysis also uncovered something really important. That average was heavily skewed by some really intense rain on Mondays in June and August. In other months, like May and July, the pattern was actually different. That's the kind of detail you can only find when you really dig in.
But what's really cool is that Amilago.com shows us that Excel isn't just for serious data crunching. Once you get the logic, you can unlock its potential for some incredible creativity and even have a little fun with it.
For instance, check out the color function. This is a custom-built tool that does something Excel can't do by itself. It adds up numbers based on the background color of the cell. Just imagine a report where you could assign expenses to different projects just by coloring the cells. It adds this whole new visual layer to your data. And believe me, this isn't just some simple trick. To make this work, it combines a whole bunch of Excel's features. It uses something called Visual Basic Code. Think of it like a little mini program running inside your spreadsheet, plus all the usual suspects like functions and conditional formatting. It's a really sophisticated mix that creates a brand new tool. So if you thought the color function was creative, get this, a fully playable game of Yahtzee built from the ground up entirely inside an Excel spreadsheet. This is just a fantastic example of pushing a tool way beyond what it was designed for just to see if you can. I mean, pulling this off took a whole other level of cleverness. It uses macros to handle the game logic, a random number generator to roll the dice, and it even uses if functions to build an AI that can suggest the best scoring move for you. It's honestly a masterclass in creative problem solving. So, you might be wondering,
Who's the brain behind all this fascinating stuff? Well, the story of Amilago itself is pretty unique, just like its content.
So the name Amilago actually comes from an Italian phrase, amici del lago, which means friends of the lake. And here's a little detail I just love. Even though the name has these Italian roots from an idea among friends near a famous lake there, the site's creator, Soren Young, is actually Danish.
And you can see this wasn't some overnight thing. The timeline shows this long, patient journey. The name itself was thought up way back in 1997, the website was registered in 2000, and the first Excel stuff didn't even show up until 2013.
So what started as just a personal project, an idea shared between friends, grew slowly over more than 20 years into this incredible resource. And it was all driven by nothing more than passion and curiosity. Which of course brings us right back to you. After seeing this whole journey, from messy, raw data to clear answers, and from serious analysis to playful games, the real question is, what stories, what insights, what totally unexpected discoveries are just waiting for you, hiding inside your own spreadsheets?